Well, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and whoever you're lucky enough to be doing it to, I'm Bushka on Blitz, and you're bloody wonderful, in case you haven't figured that out already. Been a fantastic week. We've done a lot of stuff, lots of live streams, in fact. The Asia Wargaming live stream with the head producer of Asia, Delutis, or Ozan, as I like to call him, was fantastic, and lots of giggle and laughs. Had a great couple of streams. One which my wife drove a lol tractor about at Tier 1. If you haven't already considered sponsoring the channel, please do pop along to Patreon and have a squiz at that. And if you're a bit bored and looking for some Blitz news, www.bushkaonblitz.com. Now, without further ado, we're going to talk about the Obj268. Now, this review runs a bit over time. I know I've slimmed down a touch since I used to run the 45 and 50 minute reviews. When I first started, oh my god, it was like, you know, the godfathers of reviews. I found I can pack a lot more in a lot smaller package these days. However, I've got some real issues and bones to pick with the Obj268. Indeed, it's something to talk about with regards to tank destroyers as well. And we're going to get to that, and it's certainly something worth thinking about as we move forward, and I look at doing a how to TD video somewhere in the near future, the mythical how to TD video. Mostly it's the fact that the gun looks accurate, and it's just not. It's 0.33 dispersion with a 2.5 second aim time, and that sounds fantastic, but as you're going to see in some of the video that I've stopped, there's a huge disparity between the actual time it takes to stop the tank dead and for the aiming reticle to go down, and as a result, you end up with these horrific shots that just don't go anywhere near going in, and they're brutally painful when they're in life or death situations, is so often the case. So you don't mind that when you're running around in an SU-152, which is very derpy, or a KV-2, which is obviously a turreted tank and a heavy tank indeed. And I don't mind it so much when I'm running in the E3 because it's such a slow tank, and I believe, and I can't find hard numbers on these, and I've searched everywhere, I can't find Blitz specific numbers. I believe that traverse on the 268 is a lot more violent towards the aiming reticle than it is on most of the other Tier X TDs that I've driven around in. And one of the reasons, obviously, because the traverse numbers is 30 degrees of traverse, which is excellent, and it's a very mobile number, which is important. But what's not so important is, what's very important, but what's not so fantastic, is the fact that you can miss very, very close range shots with this tank that are completely, they're non-plussing. You really can't believe they've missed. And the reason is that the reticle never really settles. You can see how small a point it is there, but it seems to take a lot longer than the 2.5 seconds that's advertised. Now, I've guessed here that this T62A is going to be pushing up on me, and lo and behold, there you go, lovely shot, certainly nothing to fault there. And you're going to see that the tank, I'm trying to stop him from going up and inviting him to go in front of you, but he's not silly, he does pop on back, and we're just going to go in a hard reverse in a second and actually trap him up. You'll note, 268, I have not fired a shot. I'm calm and patient until I actually get the opportunity to get the shot in, and then I am back to my good friend the zone line before this 62A can stop me and get behind me. And that's all because it is a mobile tank. It's very, very mobile. It's very quick. You can get out with the mediums in this tank, and it can certainly be very successful. And if you shove your gun mantlet, that big gun mantlet, into the middle of their actual gun, you'll get a lot of lucky bounces too. Now, here's what I'm talking about. You're going to see me stop dead in the tank, and 2.5 seconds is your aim time, but we're stopped dead there. So we're going to go to 15, 14. So let's just count it. 14 to 13 is 1 second. 13 to 12 is 2 seconds. 6 minutes 12. 6 minutes 11 is 3 seconds. It's still falling. Do you see what I mean? The reticle is finally getting there, and it's somewhere in 6 minutes 10. So it's at least 3.5 seconds to get that down from a dead stop. And that's a long time. That's an awfully long time. And you're going to see a shot in a tick on an M48 where it's not even close. Now, it's a .33 dispersion gun. If you've driven the Conqueror, if you've driven the Louver, they're .33 dispersion guns. And there's a lot to be said for aim time in those cases. Like you run around in a Centurion 1 with a .33 dispersion gun and a 1.9 second aim time on a Conqueror, which is 1.7, and you'll realise that the aim time is where it's at. Dispersion is more a fully aimed feature. But for all that, you want more out of this gun. If it's being sold to you as a more accurate style of weapon, you'd want that from the gun, and you're just not getting it. You can have a look at this M48 shot. Now, this isn't wild and egregious, but what it is, it's a killer. It's an absolute killer. It's going to land nearly a half a circumference away from an all but an all but stopped tank's aiming reticle. So he's through. He doesn't take any damage, and that's the end of the game. And I feel like after driving the Conqueror a lot and the Louver a lot lately, when I grabbed this again, I'd forgotten just how derpy it could be and how disappointing it can be, and how it can be. You've got to basically drive it like a really agile ISU 152. SU 152, sorry, not an ISU, because it's not that derpy. It's not the ML. It's not the ML. It's not the 152mm 1920. It is very much like the ISU 152 and the BL9, and so it should be BL10, because that's the gun you've got. That's the defining gun of this whole entire tank line. And you're going to see here, it is so ferociously agile, and that is something that you just cannot change in terms of a positive. And whatever the gun does for you, you get to run this thing around all over the place, and it will not miss a beat. It will follow mediums, it will take hills on mines, it will flank, it's just an absolute brute. You'll see even when I come out here and I get hit from behind by someone, I still get my shotting on the Object 140 and then roll straight forward, and we get hit, but we're still able to get around the corner in time. There's not many tank destroyers, especially at higher tiers, who can play with that kind of agility. And the 268 brings it to the table in spades. Now, things are looking a bit grim over there on the other flank. We're going to push around. We're on a very, very low hit point pool. So what that means is we've got to be able to take a shot if we're going to be effective, and then get out of the way quickly, and we do that. You'll see there's an E100 up here, and this is really, for all the fact that I don't particularly love the gun, and I think the gun's way overrated for the kudos it gets, you'll see how good the tank is at sneaking shots in and then just buggering off. There's an E100. He's rotating towards me, and we're gone. And the gun itself is 640 alpha. You get over 4 rounds a minute, so you're looking at a very nice gun, 4.31 rounds per minute. You're looking at a very nice alpha, 303mm of pen on your AP, 395 on your heat. You're looking at a 50km/h tank, 30 degrees of traverse. All these things are pretty positive, and I don't want to be a downer on the tank. I liked it. I actually ended up selling it just because I don't drive a lot of TDs and I needed the money to buy other tanks. And we will be reviewing the 183 as a result of the heroic sacrifices made by the 268 in letting me flog it from the garage. But be that as it may, it's still a tank with a lot of positives, and for that reason and that reason alone, I recommend buying it. For me, its most joyous moment is in pushing it, in getting out there, following the mediums on mines, really throwing it around as a bit of a turn fighter, using the low silhouette and all the positives of the tank to be really, really successful. And it can be a lot of fun. So don't let me put you off with my chatter about the gun. Now, we've pushed the port area here on Port Bay. Very heavy dominated team that I've got here. I'm going to go to HE just to pen the top turret of this T30, which is all well and good. 400 odd alpha into the top turret. and then I'm turning and into it. And I'm going to support the guys down on the right hand side of the map. Now, that A100 over here is probably a bridge too far. You can't blame the tank for this one. This is me just, that's a very small target, not a fully aimed reticle. Still managed to hit the roof of the thing in front of me though, which is fantastic. And we're just letting things build up here, and then we'll go and fling ourselves around down in town. Now, it was a barrel of laughs to play. I really did enjoy it, and I'm very much looking forward. It's actually inspired me to go and get a hold of the Obj268 because I loved the Tortoise when the Tortoise came out, and the 263 to me feels like it could be a very, very fast version of a Tortoise with a very nice armor profile. And you can see how quickly we're getting around here. There's a 62A on my right, and after rubbishing the gun a bit, the gun is going to absolutely perform heroically here on this 62A and pulverise the poor kid. Snapshot, bang, straight through. Thanks very much. Yeah, lit him up. Everything. And you can see how quickly backing away here and traversing, and it just smashes. So hard to COD an experienced driver in this tank because 30 degrees of traverse while reversing is an awful lot to get through. And you can see just how quickly it moves from shot to shot. For a non-turreted TD, the way this thing moves is very sinuous and snake-like. And I drive it very, very aggressively. And the reason for that is pretty much that if you sit back with this tank, you're doing it a disservice. The best thing it has going for it is incredible speed and incredible pace. And one of the things you want to do with it is actually stick it in front of E100s. You want to face hug them more or less and turn left and right and try and get under their gun and just be a bit of a nuisance. I'm going to back up here. Obviously, I don't want to get run into by an E100. And he's derped the hell out of me there. Now, that was not a very long session, not a very long passage of play, and we still managed to put out 5,000 damage. And we did that because we moved around the place and whacked shots in. And you see at this kind of range, the gun's far more likely to hit, and you're far more likely to release those kind of snapshots. And I love driving the E3 for that, kind of letting the gun fly as you complete a traverse. And this tank's very, very good at that as well. When you're up close and personal. That shot on the M48 before notwithstanding, don't get me wrong, I really feel like there's something in the wind about tank destroyers the way it happens. Like, anyway, you'll see here I'm pushing up on mines in the I don't know where our T62A is going. Anyway, what's he doing? There we go. And we're up. We're up as far as we can be. There's the FV, and we're in business and the game's begun. Now, what I mean by I think there's something about TDs is the traverse on this gun is not tremendous. And I think the traverse penalty on turning a TD's tracks is enormous. And for want of game balance, I'm sure they have their reasons for that. But you don't have the same issues, and you can't run a V-stab, so you can't minimise those things like you can when you're running a Louver or a Conqueror. And I think that's the case with all the TDs. And it's one of the reasons why I believe that a turreted TD is so easy to set up shots with, because you can literally set the gun and then move the tracks backwards and forwards without traversing, which means that in effect you're really minimizing the amount of dispersion that you're picking up from traversing your tank. You can see this tank is a beast when it's up in these close and personal little spaces where it has to traverse quickly and stay low. And you can see I just turned around and bounced another one off the E100. And it's a funny tank to drive. You're very mobile with it. You're very, not twitchy, but you want to swing it, and you always want to reverse and let it swing in and out of an arc. And I'm going to push up really hard on this FV4202 here as well. Here you go. And catch him napping, because the tank is mobile enough to get up there and do the business. And there he's straight through the non-existent gun mantlet of the FV4202. And then we're backing away at a very healthy pace and smashing him. It's a beast of a tank. Great fun tank. Really, really fun tank. And I can recommend it to everyone if you want to buy a tank that's quick and mobile and agile and has a massive dose of alpha and can be played as basically an assault battering ram, then this could well be the tank for you. And I fire an awful lot of heat in this tank, and I make no apologies for it. I got sick and tired of missing shots. The penetration on your heat is 395 millimeters on average. The penetration on your AP is 303 millimeters on average. And I just got sick and tired of missing shots with the tank. I wanted to make sure that every shot I took hit, and I really needed to get the gameplay for this review and didn't have all the time in the world to get it. Hence, I kind of just went hog wild on this thing, and it was extremely successful for me and a whole lot of fun. Didn't mean to fire that one. So we're down to 2 on 3. We've done an awful lot of damage thus far, and put ourselves in a really good situation. There's that 183. We want to get between the rock between me and him, and then just basically hang about in here, kick the old cap counter off, and see how we go. I'm really interested to get a hold of the 263 and do a review on it, because I think I'm going to like that a lot. I love the mobility of this tank. I'd love to try a tank that has the tortoise's kind of DPM and that kind of mobility as well as that super trollish armor profile that I've seen quite a few times with it. And you can see it doesn't let me down this game. The gun absolutely sings this game. And we've got enough hit points now where I'm pretty confident we can just duck out there, take a shot from the 183 and finish things off. There we go. We did indeed. And that was the box and dice, and that's the mastery game in the Obj268. Definitely a fun Tier X TD, something that I'd recommend for everyone to have a crack at if you can. 5,264 damage, 5 kills, so we got our Radley Walters. Really good tank, really fun game, and I hope I didn't carry on too much at the start. It's just, it feels like it should be more accurate, and it feels like the penalties these days to TDs are particularly savage when you're running a gun at 0.33 dispersion. It's almost, why not just make it a bigger, derpier gun with more alpha, and get rid of the idea that you're going to be sitting there sniping, because you obviously aren't in this tank. It doesn't respond well as a sniper. It's far more effective when you're running around being an assault weapon, following the mediums, getting out in flanks, smashing people up close and personal, playing it a little bit twitchy, I guess. Anyway, I'm Bushka on Blitz. Thank you very much for watching with me. You've been absolutely wonderful. The response on the channel at the moment is incredible. We're picking up over 1,000 subs a month, which is big numbers. We're up nearly at 1.5 million views. Where it was only yesterday I was celebrating 1 million views. We're now up to nearly 1.5, and I think we had 300,000 views plus on channel in the past month, with the video every day and that going on. And the live streams are being really well received. We had nearly 200 people on the last live stream, and I'm glad you guys are enjoying it, because I'm loving the interactivity. I'm loving the way that everyone's so social, and there's a really good community building around it. So stick with me, boys and girls. We're going to have a lot more fun, and there's a lot more interesting stuff coming up. I'm going to diversify into some testing, some of the game mechanics, some of the silly stuff. We're going to run the T44 with a 122mm, all those kinds of things, and just do some funny giggling videos along the way. I'm Bushka on Blitz. You've been lovely humans. As always, stay safe on the battlefield.